a shining light in the darkness. This is Foul Play Podcast.
Yo, Foul Play Podcast.
What's going on?
Episode number 1. I'm here right now with the one and only Devious Dave Rose and Mr. Lucky Lowe.
In the building.
Fellas, what's up?
What's going on? We got a lot to discuss tonight.
Oh yeah, we got some good topics tonight. We just was discussing what we're going to be talking about tonight, and one topic that I can't wait to talk about is what's going on with good old Elon Musk.
That's right. He's got a brand new rocket that he's going to be sending into space very shortly, but they're behind on their project right now. So, I know Dave knows a lot about this new rocket that just came out. I believe his old one was the Dragon, but I don't really know the whole purpose behind sending this rocket out there. As far as I know, he's shipped cargo before, but now I think they're actually talking about shipping people into space.
Yeah,
what's the deal with that?
Haven't they been talking about that for years though? Like actually putting people in space, Dave? Is that something new?
Not a new idea at all.
Not with Musk, right?
To all these private organizations that are starting up, whether it be Virgin Galactic, whether it be Bigelow Aerospace, and many more that are currently coming out. But in regards to Elon Musk's latest spacecraft called the Starship, he is looking towards launching in 2020 this craft up to about 20 miles into the atmosphere.
Damn.
And then landing it.
Now, what is the purpose, though?
This is the first step in creating a craft that is geared towards either going to the moon or more predominantly within Elon Musk's vision, going to Mars.
Wow. Now, let me ask you guys, is this true that he wants to actually populate Mars? And I've heard something in the past about them actually trying to get people jobs, if they were interested, that they could fill out applications online to work on Mars. Is there any truth, to what they're saying as far as populating a different planet?
That's crazy.
Are you sure that's Elon Musk that did that?
I'm pretty sure that's his goal, his main goal.
Mars project that attempted to recruit many people into thinking that they would be able to arrive on Mars by 2020.
Well, I can't quote him exactly, but I have heard him mention that he wanted to move consciousness to a totally different planet. So, if you think about it, that's interesting. Right now, they're actually finding other planets similar to Earth.
Oh yeah,
that are habitable.
A lot of them.
Hold on, let's go back to what you had said, which was you had thought that he was signing people up to go to Mars,
right?
But you weren't specific as to who it was, and I had inquired whether or not that was the Mars project, which has now been shown as a fraud, which signed up thousands of people to potentially go to Mars. And their project really was just a money trap.
A fraud? I thought that was Elon Musk. Then who was behind?
No, that's a whole different situation. I don't know. It didn't have anything to do with Musk. That what you're talking about.
As far as the Mars, getting people to work on a different planet, I'm pretty sure Elon Musk was the one that was behind that.
No, but I don't think he's the only one.
There was Biodome 2.
Right.
Which was set up specifically to determine whether or not humans could survive in that sort of limited environment. And it was shown that not only there were technical issues that were beyond the ability of handling them within that biodome, but also there was a cabin fever that was created, and it meant that there was a massive amount of suspicion between all the individuals involved, because there was a very distinct creation of separation between individuals, despite the fact that they were in a very enclosed environment. This is just a precursor to what would be encountered if this was to be transplanted onto Mars.
Right. No, that's understandable, and it's actually really interesting that that they're testing these things. But as far as finding, they're actually finding other planets that are habitable, that are similar to Earth, and just to think in
they
how
got to
many
be within
years,
that sweet spot. There's
look how advanced
it's probably millions.
Technology has gotten over the years. Look how quickly they've ramped up this technology now to the point where they have quantum, teleportation and. It's like unreal.
Well, if that's the case, then why is it that we don't have a moon base? You claim that...
As far as we know.
Publicly, this is what the information that we are seeing. Again, SpaceX is doing this publicly. So you can't go backwards.
Well, I think SpaceX is on the up and up, don't you guys? I mean, I don't think that's like a
they work with NASA.
I'm going on the fact that you are saying that we've got all these exoplanets, but when we've had the ability supposedly to go to the moon since the 1960s, then we should literally be living on the moons of Mars, moons of Jupiter by this point.
What you're saying? Wait. Let me get this right. You're saying if we landed on the moon, that our technology should be so ahead of it that we should have learned so much since then that we should be able to go and be on one of these other.
Exactly,
places.
And that is addressing what Lucky was saying in regards to the technology that's necessary to get to these other planets.
Well, let me tell you, I always laughed and thought people were out of their fucking minds if they really didn't think we landed on the moon. But I got to tell you, I did a lot of research up into that point too on it, but I saw this one thing that really made me scratch my head for a second. And there was a number of reasons of why this shit was faked and why it was so conveniently placed in time with what was going on at the time and the whole shit. And
it just, Ken,
dude, it's really
cut you off,
it's weird shit, dude. It really is.
But you can't listen to everything on the internet
because
there's a lot of
everything on the
disinformation.
internet. That's not what I'm doing. I've listened to thousands and thousands and thousands of bits of information and read up on it. And obviously a lot of us have with the moon landing. A lot of people have researched the shit out of that.
Right? Yeah, it's a huge conspiracy.
Yes.
But hold on. Why are you just assuming that Ken is only accumulating this information over the internet? There are books that have existed for 30 years, 40 years that have pointed out these sorts of anomalies.
Well, only because personally I know Ken and I know he doesn't really read books like that. So, most of his research would be done over the internet.
Well, no, I do a lot of audiobooks. I do audiobooks and shit like that. I do have books on in my mother's house growing up. There was books everywhere. I mean, my mother's an avid reader. So, I mean, there was always books everywhere. And she had space-orientated books growing up in my house all the time. And I saw shit in certain magazines and books that were telling you that the moon landing was 100% real and it happened, and there was so much man hours and technology and groundbreaking shit that they went through to do this. And then I saw other shit when I was a kid that said, don't believe it, it's a bunch of bullshit. It was conveniently placed in time at a time where we needed to go to the moon and we had to go there. And it was also said by Kennedy, we're going to be there by the end of this decade. And by the end of the decade, with 2 months left, we land on the moon. It's
Let's
just
keep
convenient.
in mind though where it was broadcasted, which was MSM, the mainstream media. It was broadcasted to the masses, and they're known for being fake news right at this point. So how at the same time, how can we trust the media back then when people had no idea that there was fake news back then, that people were being lied to?
I don't get what you mean, though.
I'm saying that's even a greater point to look at as far as knowing that, yeah, maybe it really never happened.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, man. And listen,
Right.
I'm not coming out right now and saying, like, I believe the moon landing was faked. I don't know what I believe, okay? That's where I'm at right now at this point. I went from being an avid believer to now saying to myself, do I really believe we did this? Like, do I
gotta
really
go
believe
back.
this? Because, listen, one thing that really pissed me off, and let me just get this out before I forget it.
Yeah.
One thing that pissed me off and had me scratching my head in particular was to hear the people who worked on these ships and these vehicles and all this stuff that they brought up there with them and how they got there. And these people themselves turned around in this documentary I saw, and they said the people themselves that worked on these vehicles, okay, that built these things, that had the smarts to fucking come up with inventions to get them there and all this shit. These people said, we lost all the technology that we came up with. And they were like, what do you mean? And they were like, yeah, it's all gone. And they're like, what do you mean it's all gone? And it's known now, it's fact, that all this technology that they came up with to get us to the moon, to get us home safe, and the whole thing, they mysteriously just let all this knowledge just disappear and corrode over a certain amount of time. It's gone.
Well, that really holds no weight on modern day today.
Yes, it
Because
does,
look at
because
how much they have.
well,
as far as
because if you
technology.
want to go back and you want to
It does.
land on the moon right now, they can't do it because they don't know exactly how to do it with the vehicles that
Don't
they
you
have
think
now.
they have, way better technology at this point?
Well,
in
this is
time
what
as
they're
far
telling
as-
us, though. This is what the scientists
Exactly. Don't confuse
telling
what's
us.
in the public and in the private. Okay, just because there's technologies that exist in the dark projects doesn't mean that what we're being presented is capable of doing what they're saying. And they publicly say they cannot get through the Van Allen radiation belt without the appropriate shielding.
Exactly.
But Dave, then you're telling me
a scientist
that
said
the
this, bro.
satellites-
A scientist said this,
But
dude.
so are you basically saying that these satellites that they show, as far as like what the atmosphere looks like over Earth, is fake?
This, honestly, Lucky, I'm very disappointed in you in even trying to utilize such a logical fallacy. I didn't even say that.
I'm just saying in general. The basically from what you're saying is there's no proof that a rocket ship actually left and entered space, and
I didn't even say that either.
No, he's not saying that.
All right, so elaborate a little bit. Explain a little bit further as far as where you're getting at with what you're saying.
With who's saying? He is or I am?
No, what Dave was just saying.
About what? Like, can you be a little more specific in regards?
Well, you were just saying about the ships, right? As far as proving that, don't just take it for face value.
Oh, that
how do
this
we know
technology
these ships
exists, you're saying?
Right. How do we know that this technology could even make it to the moon? So I'm basically saying, how do you know that it actually can't? How can you prove
You don't
that?
know.
Now, if
You don't
look
know.
at a
You
satellite
don't.
feed.
You don't.
No, well,
They have satellites that they
hold on.
sent up to space
But
already.
the scientists are telling you that they don't.
No. That's a logical fallacy. You cannot use that. Okay, I just put an image in the Skype chat right now for you guys to view. Okay,
Right.
so these are the satellite orbits that are within orbit of Earth. Okay, you'll see the different Van Allen radiation belts. You'll see the location of certain GPS satellites and other satellites. Okay,
Wow, it's very complicated.
and the fact is, these are hardened towards the radiation that exists, and more importantly, they don't have any living beings on them. You cannot equate a satellite with a craft that is supposed to pierce the Van Allen radiation belts, go into planetary orbit, get bombarded by galactic rays, and reach a planet, the moon, that has no magnetic field and therefore no radiation shielding towards the harmful rays and radiation that hit them.
Let me ask you a question, Dave. If they can use quantum teleportation, if they can actually teleport photons from one place to another at this point, What makes you think that they can't do that to send somebody or an object like they've been trying to do to another place in the in the solar system?
We're not discussing black projects. We're discussing what the
This is not a black project, though. This is mainstream.
So NASA is basically
China
talking about this in regards to transporting actual craft? China steals technology because they cannot even create it themselves. NASA is one of the few that actually does create this sort of technology or contracts those that are capable of doing it.
You can't say that China's not capable of this technology.
Well, I mean, they're ahead of the curve because there's actual video evidence that shows that their moon landing was fake, that their orbits where they had a man spacewalking was in a water tank, where bubbles would come out of his visor.
Dave, right or wrong, China is one of the leading, countries in the world for technology.
That would be factually false.
Really?
Dave,
I'd say they have to be at least top 3.
What are we looking at on the screen right there again? This is the GPS and all that stuff.
These are the orbits and the relative information that is appropriated to them. So, for example, you've got the GPS or satellites that orbit essentially every 12 hours or so over the Earth, and they're about 25,000 kilometers, or about 21,000 miles from Earth, and they do a speed of approximately 17,000 kilometers per hour around the Earth. Sorry, can't speak American, so I can't translate that. But what you're seeing right now is all the different orbits that are around the Earth. Look at where the ISS is, the International Space Station. Look how close that is in relation to the Earth. That's within the inner Van Allen radiation belt.
Dave, are you open to the fact that sometimes science doesn't explain everything in life, and that science can't even explain certain things yet at this point, as far as, even what you're saying?
I'm not sure. Again, that does seem to be an attempt to shift the discussion. I'm not sure.
No, I'm not trying
I love the way you said that.
It's a legit question.
Of course, it's a legit question. I will answer legitimately. And yes, I do agree that what some people call science, or what some idiots call established science, because again, if you understand the concept of science, you know that it's never established.
Exactly.
So all these people that say, the science is established, it's climate change, they don't know what they're talking about. But that question itself is a little bit deceptive, because I don't even know what you're relating it to.
Well, I'm saying in general, as far as science at this point.
Not in general, no. Why are you asking that question? What is it referring to?
Well, because like we all know at this point that science is still learning on their own. As science can't explain everything. They're not up to par to say, if a ship can travel to a different galaxy or solar system as far as we know. So even if you look at the science with the atmosphere, there's something called empirical evidence, and what you do is you replicate the situation and prove that it happens. For example, with a certain type of container for a spacecraft, you bombard it with radiation, and you see how the inside of that container reacts towards the radiation.
Yeah.
And you realize that if, that type of radiation is exposed to a living being, specifically a human that's susceptible to certain types of radiation, they would die. This is empirical evidence that can be replicated. You're not going to do it on live TV because, that might be a bad thing.
You're contradicting yourself, because they have what's called unidentified flying objects, which the government obviously has access, or they're the ones behind these projects.
Lucky, please.
These things are tested already.
First of all, Lucky, please. It's insulting that you're even saying that it's hypocritical, because you keep shifting from topic to topic.
Well, you're saying don't look at the black projects, so I have to go back to that because it doesn't make sense.
We didn't even start on black projects.
Oh, well, I'm not trying to discuss it. I'm just saying if you looked at it, they actually have black projects, so that explains how that they can go to space.
You're being disingenuous because we weren't talking about that. We were talking about Elon Musk. We were talking about public projects. It doesn't matter whether or not the audience or we or the public are aware of these black projects. We're talking specifically about the technology that is presented to us in public and how we have to react when it comes to realizing that maybe that technology will not work. But to keep shifting I just
don't take these things for face
very
value.
Disingenuous. That's fine.
I look deep into these.
No. But that's the thing, though. Do you not realize that you have continually shifted to a different topic every time that the information has been provided to you?
Well, it's like I said, my opinion's not going to change as far as what I believe. And
still not answering the question.
You're basing this on science, but at the same time, the public's telling you that they've been to these places. So, either way, not that you're contradicting yourself, but you can still be wrong.
That's not part of the discussion. We're discussing specifically Elon Musk's public statement in regards to his spacecraft.
Right.
We cannot discuss anything but that if we want to be genuine with the discussion. We want to talk about black projects and all the technology that exists there. That's fine. We're capable of doing that. And there's clearly more technology available there that's much more capable.
If we're going to discuss...
All right, so listen. I got a perfectly good thing to add to it. Let's. What's the next topic we got? Let's just move on to the next topic.
All I'm saying is if you're going to discuss Elon Musk, you have to discuss everything as far as,
Well, I mean, listen, this show,
but you cannot shift the discussion with a logical fallacy in an attempt to try to deflect to another topic.
Everybody has their own opinion.
What is going on in Syria?
Well, right now, Syria has been under attack, under fire. Turkey actually went in to Syria once Trump pulled the troops out. He pulled the American troops out.
They went right in, huh? They went right in, huh?
Yes.
Motherfuckers, right?
And now the Kurds are under attack.
They went right in the fucks.
And a lot of people are very angry about
because they're taking back areas that we had a stronghold on, right?
No, because Israel wants other people to fight their wars for them.
Shit. Well, that's another reason I think why Trump said it's time to stop these endless wars. He wants to see a change. He wants somebody else to intervene now and a different country to fight the battle for
America has wasted close to $6 trillion
Holy shit.
2001. $6 trillion since 2001 on these worthless wars in the Middle East.
Yeah, man.
Right. So Trump is under fire as well right now because of the fact that he made this big decision.
And people are mad. Come on, man. Don't you want to see the troops come home? I mean, what the fuck, man?
I thought the Democrat Party was against war, but now you see leftists totally in favor of fucking war.
You thought you'd never see that, man. It's like they flip-flopped, man. They just...
Well, that's the thing. Now, as far as him pulling the troops back, a lot of people are saying now that this is going to cause more war and conflict in the Middle East. So, by having the American troops there, it was kind of like that extra protection. Nobody would attack the area because America was
these
there.
People who are responding, like Trump said, I heard him say in an interview, he was like, no, you got to take these people. We're not taking them. Like, we're not taking these people.
Guys, are we going to ignore the fact that even the New York Times published an article that said the Pentagon armed rebels in Syria are fighting the CIA armed terrorists in Syria?
Jesus, man, I know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is so fucking sloppy. That is just like, I mean, what the fuck, man?
Well, that's the thing. Now, when Obama was in office, he was taking credit for all of this as far as like ending the war when he pulled the troops out himself. So now at this point, with Trump, he's the actual one that defeated ISIS. So a lot of people are afraid that now that he pulled these troops back, that ISIS is going to reform and we're going to be seeing them again.
Well, they're also very unaware of what Syria has done and how powerful Assad is and how capable he has been in eliminating a lot of ISIS as well.
Well, what do you guys feel as far as Assad goes with the gassing of his own people?
Man, I think
that was a false flag that was committed by what are referred to as the White Helmets, and they basically perpetrated a crime to convince the world, utilizing social media, to thinking that Assad attacked them with chemical weapons when in fact he didn't.
Right. Putin actually took him in for protection. And now with this war going on, what do you guys think? Do you think that Trump was wrong for pulling the troops back, or do you think that he should have left them there?
Listen, you're wrong if you do, and you're wrong if you don't. You know, you're right if you do, and you're right if you don't. It's a fucking catch-22 with pulling these guys out and giving up what we fought for and the people who died for it. And it's also good to see these guys come home, these women come home to their families and fucking reunite with the people they love. So, I mean, listen, it's either way. It's a double-edged sword. I don't know. I mean, you know, like I said, it hurts either way, and it's good either way. You know, it's like we get the fuck out of there, all right? We've been there too long. All right, there's many reasons why we should be out of there. All right, but there's a lot of reasons why we should still be there. But I don't know, man.
Technically, there was no war going on, over there.
Well, technically,
they were just there to protect the area.
Yeah, listen, we're all over the world still. You know, so it's like if we pull
right, but we're not fighting wars.
I mean, technically we are. I mean, battles. We're fighting battles.
Who are we at war with at this point?
We're fighting battles, man.
Afghanistan, Iraq.
Oh, that's just for the poppy fields. There's I don't see any war going there.
See, the thing is, though, that's the problem with the language, is that these aren't necessarily wars. They're armed conflicts. That's perfectly legal in international terms. So despite the fact that Americans might have troops in certain countries, it might not be called a war, but it's called an armed, conflict, and therefore they're allowed internationally by law to be there.
Yeah, but how do we look as a country that pulled out and left the Kurds to get attacked?
Listen, like I said, we look bad, but our loved ones are coming home. I bet you if you went and you told fucking what's her name that her husband's coming home tomorrow, she ain't gonna give a fuck what the Kurds worry about.
I mean, a 12-year-old child died. You know, like, is it worth those lives?
No.
When there was no conflict going on at all?
No, it's not worth anybody's lives, bro. It's not. War is not worth anything, but it's an unfortunate thing that we're forced into.
The Israelis and the Kurds have had a clandestine 12-year secret agreement to protect each other. And Israel right now is stepping up their attacks in regards to these groups. So expect them to be involved shortly, but you cannot expect that America is going to be the police of the world.
Oh,
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it's...
and I do feel like, it's time to end this whole thing with the war and everything. And other countries should pitch in and help out. I agree with that. But to leave people stranded that we fought side by side with, I don't agree with.
Let me postulate this. These cultures have been at war with each other for literally thousands of years. Doesn't matter what happens in the civilized world, they will continue to war against each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't matter what the West does, you cannot civilize savages. Therefore, pack up your bags, pull your shit out, and let these people kill themselves, because there's nothing you can do for them to stop it.
Well, I think that we have where we flip sides too quickly.
At least we tried, man. At least we tried, bro. You know, it's like, let someone else try now, man. That's the approach Trump's taking right now. Is like, listen, I'm bringing all loved ones home. Let someone else fucking try.
A lot deeper than that.
Let someone else fucking try for a change, man. Enough of being the world's police, man. Enough is enough. Time to come home.
And speaking about that, the UN is looking to face a deficit when it comes to their payments for this year. And it would be great if they went bankrupt and they ceased to exist.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, no.
Well, Trump has made it very clear that he's going to stop paying for things that aren't worth the money, and the influence that he has on other governments has done a lot when it comes to implementing a better global plan. So
The DNC wanted to see Trump gone since day one. I mean, he's been fighting this battle, which he calls a witch hunt, for his whole, campaign. Everything he went through, he still got stuff done. Okay.
Did I lose you guys? I didn't hear you for a second there, dude. I didn't hear you. I didn't hear the end of what you said. Say that again, Lo.
No, I said the witch hunt that Trump has gone through.
Yeah.
The battle that he had to deal with, as far as them trying to impeach him numerous times, trying to set him up, frame him for these things that he's never done, these outlandish things, while the DNC is running around right now and they're pretty much committing the crimes and nothing's happening to them.
Yeah,
Nobody's doing anything
I don't know why
about this.
There's like no arrest. There's no fucking. I don't know, man.
It's crazy. It really is. It's crazy to think about that. These people, we know they committed a crime. The proof is right there in front of our face, and nobody does anything about it.
Arrested.
I'm talking about like the big wigs, like Biden, Clinton. We can go down a list. These people are walking around like nothing is going on.
Talk about how information is going to be coming out with the D class on the 18th. How the information seems to be as thick as a phone book. So we're talking about...
they keep saying that stuff, but I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, I want.
They've been saying the same thing for like 2 years now.
They
Even
said
back when Q came around.
I hope this time there's some action.
There's been a lot of people that have been found. The child trafficking has gone down. There's been a massive decrease, over 400% of illegals crossing the border. There's been a lot of information that, those that are incapable of searching it on the deep web won't find out. But the fact is that there's a lot of information that the media won't cover, and it's out there. And things are happening, regardless if you think they are or not.
Can you elaborate on that a little more, Dave? Is the last thing that you said?
What specifically? The child trafficking,
Well, what you just said. You were saying about like the things that were getting done. So.
Well, there's indictments that are being unsealed. There's been public statements in regards to the E-class.
Ken, we can hear you texting.
Sorry.
That's all
My
right.
wife's trying to fucking talk to me in the background, but anyway, she's done.
Yeah. No, but I understand what you're saying, and a lot of stuff has been getting done, but I've heard the whole all these people are going to be getting locked up, but look, we have the proof in front of us.
But listen, like this whole lot of people getting locked up shit. It's like we hear it, but but there are some cases where Trump has like fucking called people out and shit. But like, what is it really?
If you think that if it's that easy, why do you think that Epstein supposedly died and in front of all this security? Like, you got to understand the deep state runs deep.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, if you look at the date that Epstein died, it comes out to 666. It goes very deep. Yeah. So now with Epstein and Weinstein and all these Steens and all these corrupt people, how come they're not locked up? Why are they still walking around?
Well, because there's a lot of protection around them. And you got to make an airtight case to prevent them from, disappearing.
Now, how is Trump going to make a difference than anybody else? Because when we're talking about actually putting out these memos, that are huge, like the size of a phone book, like we're saying, you know, what does it do? It did absolutely nothing.
For the same reason that you have all these people calling for Trump's impeachment,
right,
and trying to hold a vote that has no sway whatsoever over the Senate, and yet they claim that that's valid, and the Mockingbird media covers it as if it's truth. So that's the type of example that I'm referring to.
What about Roger Stone and Alex Jones and people like that? You know, like Roger Stone actually got arrested. Remember when he raided his home?
Whatever happened with that? Like with that dude?
Oh, he admitted he lied.
What did he lie about? What did he lie about? Do you know?
He was probably pushed to say that he lied because he knew he was in a losing battle.
Yeah, but what did they arrest him for exactly?
But a guy like Biden with his corrupt son, you know, the whole family's corrupt and they all do favors for each other.
Yeah, but that's been coming out recently, although it's been known.
And he's still running for president, Dave. He's still running for president.
Well, because if he steps down now, he'll look
That's
even
treason.
guiltier. He'll look even guiltier.
The vice president. That's treason to the country, and he's calling for Trump to sit down and be impeached.
Man. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, when you consider that the legal system is infiltrated by a bunch of these deep staters, you realize the way to do this properly is to have military tribunals.
Right.
Could you imagine that?
And Hillary Clinton's talking about actually hopping into the race for 2020.
I know. I heard about that, man. What the fuck,
she's just nuts.
She's out of her
think
fucking
she learned
mind,
the first
man.
time.
She's gonna run fucking 9 times. Like, come on.
Look at the track record. And you know what? A lot of people still follow her and listen to her speeches, and they believe in her. And she will get votes because those people support somebody that, you know, the media backs these people, and that's the problem. A lot of people are just brainwashed.
Well, I just love how the media has been, like, listen, you go back 10 years ago, the media was never called out like this, man. And I love how people are all holding them now to, like, you know, they calling them out. And I love it. I love every minute of it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, well, that it comes a time where I think people are at this point now where they see that the politicians make promises that they can't keep. They know that a lot of it is controlled by money and these big corporations. It's not a secret anymore. And I think the politicians and all those people that are involved want people to know what's going on at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think that they even care anymore. You know, it's gotten that far. And that's why I say you have to be very careful on the internet as far as disinformation as well, because they do control the internet.
Oh,
and that's why
without a doubt.
censored.
I mean, listen. You listen, you know, if you're going and you're getting all your information off the internet, then, you know, you're an idiot, to be honest.
Right. I'm not saying there's not truth on the internet, but I'm saying
there is.
It's very hard to find.
You got to sift through it, and you got to find where it is, and you got to
or catch it before they censor it.
And you're not always right either when you think you found the truth. Sometimes you didn't. You know, I mean, It's like, it's hard. You know, it's hard to like really gauge what is really going on sometimes, and not everybody's got all the answers. I mean, you know, if we did, then we wouldn't be speculating on all this shit.
Yeah, we got to get into the last topic. I think we were going to get into the Bill Gates and these chem clouds that he's funding.
Yeah, what's the deal with him, man? He's saying that he could fix the ozone. I mean,
I think he's actually going to try to end global warming.
Really?
So this is going to be a solution towards ending it officially.
What?
Right. So he's funding this project for climate change.
So we can make what's her name feel better? Greta? Greta will feel better after he does this? Or
the little Swedish girl.
How dare you?
How dare you? Don't make fun of me. I mean, like, so supposedly Gates knows the way to fix this all, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, as far as these chemtrails, like Dave knows a lot about this. Dave is, you know, he's done heavy research.
What's the deal with this shit, Dave?
Well, I think it's very funny that for decades, really, I was ridiculed about speaking about these sorts of geoengineering projects. But now we have somebody like Bill Gates coming out publicly supporting with his billions of dollars that same sort of project.
I know, man. It is fucking crazy.
And the whole idea is basically he wants to do what people who understood what chemtrails were 20 years ago knew, which is to spray at high altitudes particulates, aerosol particulates, into the atmosphere to create a sort of shield and prevent global warming, as they say.
Right. And keep in mind, this has been going on for years and years, but this is new to everybody.
Well, it's new to those that, are now paying attention. But the whole idea of solar geoengineering has existed literally for decades. The patents exist that show that this is so valuable enough that people want to ensure that their investment is able to make money.
Dave,
right.
Real quick, do you think that maybe throughout the years that this technology that they supposedly have now that Bill Gates can do this with, they were actually like testing it above us? And that's kind of what we were seeing some stuff from?
It's a good question.
Without question. Because the fact is that the information has existed for the last 30 years, close.
Yeah.
And you can see that even those that either have a memory or photographs show the sky was much bluer at that point than it is today.
Oh, you could tell the difference. Yeah. Definitely.
You can also see an increase of these geo engineering cloud seeders, as they're referred to, traveling the atmosphere in the late 90s, and you will see a change, and you can find this evidence in videos all over the internet, that from a sunny day, it becomes overcast, and then clouds start to move in. And if you look at the satellite images in reference to these clouds, you notice that essentially a electromagnetic field is created to drag and create these clouds in that area.
Yeah, when you look up at the sky, you could see when the exhaust comes out, they expand. These huge clouds expand, and they just take over, and they block the sun out. I've seen a lot of them go towards the sun. Man. They want to block that sun out for some reason.
Well, there's also a lot of images that prove that these particular aircraft have nozzles that release these sorts of aerosol spraying. So it's not the engines that are creating trails. People try to point out and say, oh, it's contrails that are being created. No, contrails disappear in a matter of moments, but chemtrails, those that are seeded with heavy metals, will literally last for minutes, if not hours. And eventually you start to notice a weather pattern that's created from their existence.
Oh, I've heard that it even affects people as, physically, by inhaling this stuff during the day, because it's mostly done during the day, not really at night. But as far as these chemtrails go, you could definitely tell a difference in the sky. And for some reason, because of the fact that this has been going on for so long, how are we to believe that now all of a sudden that Bill Gates is funding this project, that it's going to actually stop global warming, or what they call global warming? How do we even know that even exists?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's true.
Well, you follow money and you realize that the whole alarmist idea that the Earth is heating up due to CO2 is a total hoax and farce.
Right.
And then you realize that this is all about money.
Yeah,
totally agree.
There you go. The root of all evil.
Yes, money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And it's also the root of happiness and all kinds of other shit, too. So.
Right. Life is what you make it.
It is. And money isn't everything, but man, does it help.
Yeah, I mean, so we covered a lot today on the Foul Play podcast. And we definitely, as far as space goes, with intelligent life and all of that stuff, I mean, Elon Musk is breaking the barrier, and I think even NASA is starting to feel threatened. You know, this is a young mogul here. He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of intelligence, and I feel like he's really going to take us far in the future as far as technology goes. You know, technology is advancing, and at the same time, you know, there is negative technology, but we also are getting a lot of positive technology that's helping us.
Yeah,
Well,
but remember,
take a look to your left and look at that bridge. I'm going to sell it to you if you want.
Oh, come on, Dave.
listen,
You,
let
you
me
truly don't believe that?
let me just say this: every technology that's ever been made, has always been used against man and women throughout time. Whether it be anything, every technology, just about every technology. So
Right. No, I've said you have your negative technology and
there
your
are
positive.
a lot. Yeah, but
Duality.
even a negative is a positive, and even a positive is a negative. You know what I mean? So
And when I'm saying that, I'm talking about the type of technology that'll give us like free energy to the point where it's not where we have to pay for our own utilities.
I mean, that shit existed fucking years and years.
Right,
and years
running
ago.
cars on water
Yeah.
instead of gasoline.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many options that, and so far we can go as a civilization. You know, it's endless. The options are endless.
Well, we're gonna get there together, baby, on the
That's right.
Foul Play Podcast. Thanks, everybody, for
always a
tuning
pleasure.
in to this pilot episode, and we'll see where it goes.
Right. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah. Peace, everybody.